Welcome to Beyond the Prep, a podcast dedicated to providing information and insights into the bodybuilding sport. This podcast covers a wide range of topics from finding a coach to the struggling of competing, nutrition, supplements, cost, and much more. I'll be talking with competitors so you can hear their stories, judges, coaches. If you're interested in sharing your story, send me a note at skapach40@gmail.com. Welcome to Beyond the Prep. I am your host, Sherrie Capach. I'd like to welcome today, Chris Baldwin. I know it's been busy day, long day, so I appreciate you taking the time out and coming. So let's start with how long you been bodybuilding for?
Since I was 17 years old.
So what got you into it at that age?
Honestly, I met a mentor in the gym. He basically came up to me and said, "Hey, listen, like, you have a decent physique.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever thought about, venturing down this route?" And like, I was like, "Okay, cool. Like, let's see what happens." So I started training. After about a year, I was like, "Okay, let's give it a shot." 17 years old, I did my first show.
Wow.
Won the juniors, and then after that, I was like,
that was it.
Yeah.
Wow. So what did you think? Like, such a young age, and the commitment and all of that was involved in it. Like,
I think the thing for me is, like, I'm a very creature of habits. Once you get me hooked and you get me like on a plan, I'm like, I follow the plan like 100%. I'm not one of those guys that wavers.
Yeah.
You tell me to eat 100 grams, I'm eating 100 grams.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not eating 101 grams.
Mm-hmm.
It's just how I've always been. And it's like, you're either in or you're out.
Yeah.
Right. So somebody that's constantly cheating on their diet and continuously just sabotaging what you're focusing, then why am I paying you?
Yeah.
Doesn't make sense to me. Right.
Right. So, yeah. It's a costly sport for sure.
Yeah.
So when you create sabotage, it's like, that's a lot.
100%.
Yeah.
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 So.
Oh, nice. So in doing this now, because you've been doing it for a long time, what do you know now that you wish you might have known then?
I think that you need to find a coach that works for you. Using your loyalty and using your feelings when it comes to things that you know aren't right, but you continue to do the same thing over and over. It's like being bit by the same dog. So for me, finding a coach that actually fed me the amount of food that I need to be able to grow was super hard for a long period of time. And I finally have like hit that stride where I'm like, okay, I found the guy that I need to follow because he actually feeds me enough. Luckily, like 5 weeks out from this show, I finally found somebody that was like, "Hey, listen, let me give it a shot." And like, I've never eaten this much food in my life, but I also need this much food. Like, we fed like 3,000 grams of carbs the last like 3 days.
Wow.
And like my body just kept eating it.
Yeah.
Eating it, right?
Yeah.
Like I was starting to flatten out this morning.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it's amazing what the body is capable of, right? Yeah, for sure. So with that, did you have to, like, what's been the struggles? Like, even from your younger days of starting out, what was the hard part for you? But you've been doing it throughout the years. Has it gotten easier, or is there something?
Like I said, it comes down to like, I'm always a creature of habit. So like, I will eat whatever somebody tells me. And if I know I need to eat more food and my coach says, you don't need to, then I'm going to listen to them because I put trust in them. But I think the problem was I never really listened to myself. Oh. I knew the answer and I was like, "Hey, listen, I need to do somebody that needs to feed me more."
Yeah.
Because there's no point in eating the same thing coming in year after year.
Yeah.
And like, I was loyal to many, many people, and it's just like nobody understood the fact that like, I'm telling you I need more food and you're not feeding me.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So it's kind of my own fault because I've kind of held myself back. I think that if I would have found the coach I had now 5 years ago, I probably would have been a pro already.
Yeah.
I know what I'm capable of. I have this physique in the shape to be at the pro level. I think I just need to put the size on.
So that's your goal.
That's my ultimate goal. Like, I've been doing this whole time, and it's like I've always wanted to be that way, even since I was a kid.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So when they came and approached you and said, "Hey, you should do this," did you know what was involved?
Honestly, like, I was always a fan. I love the era of
So
like
you
Roddy
knew about it,
Coleman
but-
and like Kevin LeBron and all these, you know, Flex Wheeler and Nasser and all these big guys. It's always been just a fascination. It's like, hey, listen, like these guys got to this point. Like, what is it going to take me to get to that point? And if I'm maybe actually able to get to that point, right? But my thing is like, if you don't put time into something, you'll never understand or know whether you're capable of actually doing it or getting to that point.
Yeah.
Right. So I've always been that, you know, with everything that I do in my life, it's like either I'm all in or I'm out. I'm like, it's like a light switch. You turn it on or turn it off. I don't have a middle ground.
Okay.
Which is kind of good and kind of bad at the same
Yeah.
time because
Yeah,
like people say you need a balance, but I think that like at the level of where the pros are, like you either are 100% in or you're out.
Yeah.
Right. And I mean, it's
a whole nother
it's
level,
just what it is. People
right?
say it's an obsession, but like if you're not obsessed with something, how do you get to that
I
point
see.
to be elite, right? So,
Yeah. Yeah, a whole other level.
Yeah.
You're going into for
This is-
sure.
this is it,
And
right?
it is
So-
full, like even at this level, it's a full-on commitment,
100%.
right?
Right.
So take that up another level.
Well, that's it, right?
And
You
it's just even.
you reach the pro
bigger.
level, and it's like, okay, now you got contracts, you're getting paid X number amount of dollars at the top level, but it's like that's your job.
Yeah.
You go to the gym, you eat your meals, you go to sleep, you train, you do everything to the absolute maximum, and you get the salary that balances out to represent that company because they put that time and energy to believe in, right?
Yeah.
So if you don't set value out for somebody, how are you gonna ever even, you know, reach that level to where they're actually gonna be like you're worth money,
Right.
right?
Right.
You know, and I think that like there's a lot of money in the industry if you know how to get the money. And you
Okay.
need to be able to like market yourself and be able to say, hey, listen, like I'm willing to do this to get to this point.
Mhm.
Where most people they're like, I'm not doing it, I expect this much money, but like they're not just gonna come knocking at your door if you have to
Yeah.
prove yourself, right?
Yeah, you do have to, you
So,
have to show up.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
For sure.
So
For sure. So with saying that, then someone came to you, you know, and they're thinking of starting out.
Mhm.
What's the best advice you
Uh,
could give that person?
100% find a coach that you will 100% stand with and listen to. Invest the time and energy into that. Developing the proper habits, eating, you know, your sleep habits, training as hard as possible. Not buying into social media where they're like, oh, you need to do all this floofy, you know, all these fancy exercises and stuff. You have to master the basics to become a master.
Mm. That's a
Right.
good point, yes.
So
Yeah.
that's my logic. And I mean, like, I think we've all fallen into that category at some point. We're like, oh, well, I'm going to try this new fad and see what happens. But it's like, you always go back to the basics.
Yeah.
Right. You build your back with barbell rows. You're not going to build the same back doing like cables. You need to do the basics here. You need to do everything, a combination of it all. Right.
Yeah.
You know, like you look at like the physiques of the 90s, I think there was like way less machines and way more iron being moved. And I mean, yeah, okay, there's form on some things might have been sloppy, but like you gotta move some heavy stuff to put in
Yeah.
and build the foundation, right?
That makes, yeah.
So I think that like the people coming up, they need to stop dealing with like the, oh, well, you know, Chris Bumstead does this. It's like he built himself up with like all the basics and got good at like deadlifts and good at squats and all the basics before he decided, okay, you know what, they got these new machines out that I'm gonna start doing because it's less strenuous on my joints because I'm getting older. But like he still to this day does deadlifts.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, he's the best in the world.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point. So support.
Yeah, support. I mean, surround yourself. My biggest thing is like you're always gonna have people that are down. And I always, you know, I don't have a huge friend group because I only have like 5-6 people that I actually want in my circle on a regular basis. Because those people will literally go above and beyond to help me and they will call me on my show.
And
It's
that's
just
what
how
you
it
want.
is. I don't want somebody that's like, oh, you look great, and I know I don't look great. So how am I gonna take your word on it and listen to you if you know you're lying?
Yeah.
Right? It's like your mom. Your mom is never gonna tell you that you look bad.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
like
yeah.
you should have won.
I love
It's
you,
like,
I love you.
no, like I didn't look great.
Yeah.
I know I didn't look great.
But thanks, Mom.
That's what it is,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
that's what I would do. I would surround myself with like key people that are gonna influence you in both ways. Push you to be better when you're not pushing yourself and be there to say, hey, listen, like you're overthinking the process. You need to just let it be and just chill and let it happen. Right. So that's what I had to learn. Like it took me years, like literally I had self-doubt and all this kind of stuff. And I was just like, I had the key people in my life where like they would look at me and be like, what are you talking about? You need to just keep doing what you're doing. Don't overthink the process. Don't listen to this person or what this person thinks of you, because at the end of the day, A, they're not paying your bills. B, they're not there 24/7, and they're not the ones that are benefiting off of what you're adding value to their life with.
Right.
So I think that's the biggest flaw with mankind right now, is I think that we care more about what social media and everybody else does. Right?
Strong social media.
This is it.
Nails you.
It's the key. So
Yeah.
I think if you continue down the path of just like focusing on the goals that you have, everything will fall into place at some point.
Nice. Yeah, and it's hard. It is hard because it's everywhere, right? And it's just you're up against yourself. No one else.
It's you. Like this sport, everybody says, okay, you have a team behind you. It's like, okay, cool. I have a coach. I have a opposing coach. I have this. I have that. That's cool. But like at the end of the day, if you have a plan in front of you that says this is what you need to do, and you don't follow it, that's on you. That's not on the coach. Yeah. You can't blame your coach for you needing an extra 100 grams of carbs when you shouldn't be eating it. Yeah. Right? Like it's kind of on you. It's your due diligence to be able to do it. Yeah. Right. So like absolutely. Right? Like my coach is not telling. My coach will say you need to do cardio in the morning, but he's not there with his hand out saying, get on that treadmill and do the cardio. I need to do it. Yeah. I just got to do it. Yeah. They're not your babysitter. No. They're your coach. This is it. Right? Absolutely. So I think even at the elite level, like you look at the top Olympians, like they're in the same mode. You know what I mean? Like they know what they're doing, they know how to get to where they are, but the thing is they have a coach for a reason, because they don't have to think. They take the reins and they go, here you go. To be accountable. Exactly. You take it, you tell me what I need to do, and I'll follow exactly what you need to do. That's it. Yeah. Right? And accountability is huge also. This is it, right? Like even if I've slipped up on something to eat and I'm like, right there, messaging my coach, just want to let you know, you don't have to reply, just let you know, this is what I just ate, But you're owning it. Yes. And if I don't do it right then and there, I'm not going to do it. Yep. I'm just going to, and they know. Right? Well, this is it, right? Check in, they're like, oh, what did you do this week? Exactly. Oh, I didn't do anything. Yeah. Right? 100%. Right? Yeah. So own it, right? Because it's all on you. This is it. Right? As well as that, how, this past week, and how was your peak week? Did you find the past couple weeks, I think the 2-week mark, I was kind of like, oh man, this is getting harder. But we kind of always try and be ahead of the game. So like 2 weeks out, I'm pretty much ready. Okay, yeah. Peak week, I don't really have a peak week. Like peak week for me is like, we just increase. It's kind of, I'm already ready. That's when you I've reached that point. Like this past week, I took in like 3,400 grams of carbs. I'm just delicious. I'm one of these people where once you start feeding me carbs, my body turns into a furnace. Oh, like I ate 1,000 grams last night, and like I literally lost 9 pounds overnight. Like from the time I went to bed to the time I woke up, I was already like I didn't even eat. I had to refill everything, right? Oh wow. So I'm one of these people where like you have to find that combination where like you have a ton of carbs, but you also have the fats to slow down. Because if you don't, I would just keep burning. You just burn. It just burns right through. Right? Yeah. And that amazed me because I never understood, like before I got into the sport, and you'd see someone, just eating that pile, like that huge steak, and they're just sweating, and you're like, oh, why are you sweating? You're just eating. And then I got into the sport, and then it was like, okay, go refeed, and I would have like a big, and I'd be, and I'm like, oh my God, why is it so hot here? This is it, right? And then he's like, that's your metabolism kicking in. Sure, my goodness, it's just kicking. Yeah. So I think that's one of the reasons why I think that like when people don't implement cheat meals, and I mean not cheat meals, I mean like if your coach doesn't give you like a carb cycling and where you're like, okay, listen, like I need to have a high day after so many days, your body starts to get stagnant, and it sets itself to that. Okay, I'm used to eating no food, and then it just doesn't want to lose anymore, right? So like throughout the process, like the last 5 weeks, like we really like did like 2 low days, and then I do like 2 high days, and 2 low days all the way through, and I progressively got harder and harder and harder, but my weight didn't really change. So like visually, I looked completely different, but like I held everything, right? Yeah. So that's kind of the goal anyways. We want to maintain as much size as possible as we can without sacrificing, right? Yeah. So I mean, obviously there's going to be initial weight loss, but it's like it's part of the process. Yeah. And every year is different because your body changes. This is it. This is it, right? Like 1 year I can digest beef, and the next minute I'm like, my body doesn't like it. Yeah. Then I got to stick to like lean meats. Yeah. Like this whole prep, I never ate. I literally lived on like super lean ground beef. If it was even, I can even call it ground beef. I eat yak,
Okay.
which is basically a mountain steer, right? It's like 3 grams of fat for every 100 grams.
Yeah.
So I'm like super lean the whole time. So I'm still getting the red meat, but I'm like not getting the fat content of the red meat, right?
Right.
So for me, I've just become so accustomed to eating lean meat that like when I eat meat fatty stuff, it
It's
makes me feel
gross
bad.
almost, right?
Like I go and have burgers, and it's like, oh, the next day, like, why did I do this?
Yeah.
It's just, I don't know. I guess it's kind of like you become so used to eating.
Yeah, your body just isn't used to it.
Yeah.
Right? And sometimes it's just hits you negatively. It's
100%.
like, oh, I don't feel right.
Yep.
And then you see those greasy things. No, I don't think I can.
No.
Right.
Like you want to just because of like the sheer smell, but you're like,
oh, it's delicious.
my senses are heightened. I want everything, and then you're like, you can have it, and you're like, I don't want it.
Yeah.
I don't care.
Yeah. It's just an amazing tool in your body, right?
Yeah.
And you never know what you're headed into for the next one.
No, and I mean that's the thing. This is why I like this game, because it's like you're an artist of your own body. You kind of like you kind of build and sculpt what you want, and it's like I've always been the guy that's like, I'm gonna build a physique that I want.
Yeah.
The judges can say, hey, listen, you need to do this, this, and this, but it's like at the end of the day, it's kind of down to me and what I want to build. If I like having big legs, I'm gonna have big legs. I'm gonna try and balance my physique out as much as possible. But at the end of the day, I have to be happy with what I see in the mirror also.
Absolutely.
Right. So like obviously, like we all want balance, we always want that symmetry, which I've always had. I'm one of these people that just has a very hard time. Like I'm very lower body dominant.
Okay.
My upper body is behind my legs, but it's not like super behind my legs. But it's just always been. That's just how it is, right?
Yeah.
You all have those body parts, and I'm just like, I could do leg extensions, my legs would grow.
Yeah.
Right. But it's usually the body parts you like to train the most, and the ones that you enjoy training are the ones that are most developed.
Right. Right. It's like, that's right. But yeah, that's amazing. I do love that you said you're an artist of your own body.
Yeah, I understand. And I mean, it's the same, like as life, right?
Yeah.
If you design your life the way you want it to be, it's gonna work in your favor. If you're living the life for somebody else, then you're not living your life. You're living for someone else.
That's great. Yeah. Yeah. Do what you love.
This is it. This is it.
And
right?
It'll be an easy ride.
That's right? The name of the game.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. On that note.
Yeah.
That's perfect.
Awesome.
Thank you very much. And and how did it go today? Let's get that in.
I took second in both classes.
Okay.
As I said, it came down to fullness.
Yeah.
I just kind of missed that peak about by 30 minutes.
Okay.
So I had it been a little fuller, like 30 minutes like earlier, I would have been as full as I need to be, and I probably would have won in my favor.
Yeah. Well, congratulations. That's
thank you so much.
I want to thank my guest today and my listeners for joining me at Beyond the Prep. If you like this episode and want to make sure you don't miss any others, please subscribe. You can also find us on YouTube.